A10, this is your chapter 13 summary notes and provide a little more background information that wasn't covered in the recap. Be sure that you have your chapter summaries completed by Sunday at 3:30. We're going to stick to the school day hours, and also your project. So your summaries go into assess and reflect. Your questions, comprehend, respond, and those are the questions for each chapter. And of course, assignments 2 and 4. Just look back at the previous videos for instructions on that, as I show you in the course outline. And your projects fall into create and compose. So there's 3 outcomes that are affected here. And so as we wind down, it's important that you get all 3 in, and that'll help with the overall mark. And then you can start working on your TED Talks. And you can get that done anytime between now and June 15th. And clear off your plate, and you can spend more time on your other courses. So that's what the deadline periods are for. It's to manage your time better, and it'll help you with your transitioning into the fall. Okay, if you have any questions, let me know, and you can email me. And don't forget to try posting your videos for TED Talks on Google Classroom. And if they don't work, then email me the link to your video. Okay, 3 to 10 minutes in length, and be sure that it follows the themes of the curriculum, challenges of life, or mysteries of life. Okay, all right, let's get to the chapter summaries. Here we go. Okay, so chapter 13 is entitled Valentine. Locke and Demosthenes, or Peter and Valentine, are found out. So it's no longer a secret. The international fleet found out, but the Russians and the Americas, they don't have a clue that it's the Wigan children that's been flooding the internet with all these thoughts and ideas. So the question is, what impact their online views will have on the political game? Because this book is all about games, manipulation, games, and that is currently being played between the international fleet and those not part of the international fleet, which is Russia. Okay. So if you're very familiar with the Cold War, after World War II, we had the Cold War between the Soviet Union, now Russia, and the United States. So it was a very tense 40-year period, I believe, and ending in '89 when the Berlin Wall fell. And or 30 years. See, that's why I don't teach math. Okay, so anyways, you have everyone's tense. There's the vision of that one side's going to press the button, and then the other person will retaliate, and you'll have missiles going in every direction. So the world is basically sitting on pins and needles. Ender is referred to as the Wigan, like he is some virus or the secret project not to be messed with. Valentine will be monitored just in case things go awry or off track. She was having fun being Demosthenes, but it also made her feel ashamed that Locke was not experiencing the same response as her. So question, why would she feel that way about Peter? Peter's angry that he is once again not acknowledged in the same fashion that his sister should be as his sister and brother. I'm not sure if I can fix that right now or not. As his sister and brother. Graf knows Valentine is Demosthenes and wants her to encourage Ender to get back into the game, a form of blackmail. He doesn't come out and say, I know it's you. I know it's you. Mm-hmm. Okay, gotcha. But he approaches it in a third person approach, and instead of first person, and say, it's like, I really hope Demosthenes will follow our take on this whole situation, and of course she knows that he's talking about her, but the big question on her side is, does he know that she knows that she is Demosthenes and so on? It's like, oh, okay. So it's another game. Okay. Valentine sees Ender, and after being questioned for her visit, she admits she was there to bring him back into the game. So she has to be upfront with Ender in order to have any conversation with her, because of the last time that she attempted to help Ender out, it ended up alienating him further. So the curse of the Wigan children is the fact that they understand how other people think. Ender hates himself for who he has become, and he views himself as a killer. Ender wants one thing, Peter to love him, because I talked about that in the recap, that it always comes back to Peter, even though he doesn't want to be Peter, and he's becoming more like Peter, he still wants Peter to love him. And if you go back to chapter 1, Peter says, I do love you. But he's got a weird way of showing it. Valentine doesn't think this is possible, because now that Peter is not getting the same attention as Locke, the same attention that or more attention that like Valentine's getting as Demosthenes, there's a jealousy and all kinds of stuff. So it's really causing more alienation and separation, or divisiveness in the family. Valentine manages to talk to Ender to rejoin the international fleet, and he will not forgive her for that. He was hoping to get away from it, and now that she stated that if you don't try, then it's your fault. But if you do try and you lose, then at least you tried. So at least you can say you did it. But by not trying and we lose that way, then it is your fault. You've killed us all. Graf admits why he did what he did, to make Ender love Earth, to make it real for you. And keep in mind, Ender's feelings or emotions are all totally messed up. He doesn't know what love is. He doesn't know about beauty, and because he hasn't grown up as what a child does. A child learns these things, and he doesn't know what those things are. He doesn't know what a relationship is, friendship, and so on and so forth. That's why Petra even says you need to develop allies, and instead of focusing on the enemies all the time. But Ender always focuses on the enemies, and that'll be a foreshadow of how he's going to take the next step towards the final battle. Ender fell for the tricks. Ender will not forget this, especially for using Valentine as one of his tricks to suck him back in. And again, that comes back down to the teachers are liars. If international command is located on a minor planet called Eros, Ender received information about the buggers, which mirrors ants on Earth. So these buggers are like ants. So if you started your project and you are focusing on the buggers, be sure they look like ants, okay, or some form of ants. The plan is to attack them first, called the Third Invasion. Because remember, the last two invasions took place on Earth. This is the third invasion. Ender had to remind himself that Graf was acting to be a friend. So is it true friendship, or is it just another trick? And it takes him back to when they were leaving for battle school, that maybe Graf was going to be his friend. And in a really weird and skewed fashion, Graf is a friend, but the definition of friendship is so it's so murky. I don't even think Graf knows what a friend is, but on the surface, both of them have an inkling of what it is, and probably it's because they spend a lot. They have spent a lot of time with each other. They've grown with each other over the past 4 years. Graf has invested a lot. He's almost, he's walking a very fine line with the international fleet by sticking with Ender and backing him up and and so on and so forth. So maybe that's friendship. I don't know. All right, so that's chapter 13. And if you have any questions about 13, especially now that we know what the buggers look like, I don't recall if there was another description in the novel that described them, but we get a little more, and we'll learn a little more about it, about the buggers in 14 and 15. Okay, take care.